Welcome to the Hamsey Analytics Daily Market Commentary. I'm Pablo Navarro. Today is Friday, October 12, 2012. For the market internals, the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline differential closed at negative 800. Nasdaq advanced decline differential closed at negative 785. We had 5 new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and 3 new 52-week lows for the S&P 500. For the volatility, 445,000 contracts traded on the VIX today, with 43 million in total premiums paid. For the dollar-weighted put-call ratio in October, we saw a 2.0 reading, which is bullish, with 48% of the total premiums paid. And in November, a 0.36 reading, which is bearish, with 32% of the total premiums paid. Here we have the daily chart for SPX. We have another down day, down 4.25 handles for the day, or 0.3%. Very bad week, closing at 14.28 here on SPX. Pretty bearish action here again today. We could look here at the 60-minute chart. We were higher in the morning and started selling off pretty fast and finishing almost at the lows of the day again. Almost at our weekly support number 2, which was 14.25. We did not actually reach that one on the close, but it was fairly close here. So let's go to our weekly chart here. Here we have the weekly chart. We broke this trend line we had here on this week. Clearly we broke it, and now maybe looking for lower prices. We want to maybe look for zero sigma on the longer term. This is the weekly chart, so it's going to take longer. 1391, that's going to be very important. But first I would want to see a break of 1425, 1420. That's going to be a very important level for me to turn longer term a little bit more bearish here. In case we do hold these levels on the weekly chart, we're still perfectly fine here, coming back here and going higher. In the case we go to 1391 on the weekly chart, this would be perfectly bullish. Come test this zero sigma and then go higher. That's gonna be the target here on the plan, 1391, and maybe even going up to 1491. That's gonna be here. Let's go to SPY and start with the weekly chart. Here we have the weekly chart for SPY, and we're looking for 139.34 on the downside and 149.35 on the upside. Those are gonna be the two targets here. Maybe get another week of a pullback, test this 139 level, and then bounce back higher. That's gonna be important here. Looking at the moving averages here on SPY, we broke the 50-day moving average and closed below it. This is pretty bearish here. Maybe looking for further pullback, going to this 139 level we talked about on the weekly chart. This would put us around here, which is almost in line with the 100-day moving average we talked about. Right now, the 100-day moving average, 138.65. By the time we get there, it would be around 139. This is a moving target, remember. Let's go now to the Qs, and let's start with the weekly chart. Here we have the weekly chart for the Qs. The Qs have been selling out harder than SPY. We are already at negative zero sigma. We want this level to hold, maybe get a bounce from here on this chart, start getting some upward move on the Qs, and maybe looking for 68.85 and then 171.63. Very important to hold this 66.06 level, that zero sigma. We want that level to hold. We talked about the 68 level during this week. If we do break to the downside, maybe break intraday, test this 65.74 level and quickly bounce back higher of that 66.05 level we just talked about on the weekly chart. That would be pretty bullish. Maybe an outside day reversing here on the 100-day moving average. Here, IWM. Here we have the Russell 2000 ETF risk on risk off index, and here you can see it. We are almost at 0.6. We are right now at 82.10. Zero sigma is at 80.58. So that's gonna be our last support here on the weekly chart. But if we go to the daily chart, We talked about closing above this trend line and this 50-day moving average. Well, we broke it and closed below it. So from here on the IWM, I'm getting bearish here until 80.12, which is the 200-day moving average. If you look at this 80.12, very close to the 0 sigma on the daily we just set. Here you could see it is 80.60. So those two could be in line here. We could call them a confluence of 80. Mid 80s here are gonna be the targets on IWM. If we go to GLD, here we have the daily chart for GLD, and we continue to be on the bullish side here. 170 maybe coming a little bit further. 169, 168, 15 is negative, positive 1 sigma. So a little bit pullback to 168 would be perfectly solid here. Hold this level and then try to go for this 175 level. That's gonna be our target. 168 level and then get into the 175 level. If we look at the daily chart on GLD, we talked about breaking this 20-day moving average a couple of sessions ago. Today almost tested on the upside, we failed, and now we came back here down 0.73% for the day. Important thing here, short-term moving averages. 10-day moving average has turned to the downside, same with the 20-day moving average. So maybe looking for this 168, 169 level, and after that we could be trying to test this 175 level. So that's gonna be our plan here on GLD. Going now to the VIX chart. Here we have the weekly VIX chart. We continue to be below 0 sigma. This has been happening since here. You can see we broke to the downside around July, June, and then we have not been able to break and finish above the 0 sigma on the weekly chart. Today was no exception. Here you can see it. So we want to break maybe this intra-week up to the 18, the 200-day moving average, and then bounce back lower, closing again below the 0 sigma on the weekly chart here for the VIX. We have a special offer by TradeStation. Get your Hemsley Analytics proprietary indicators paid by TradeStation. Contact Active Traders office in Chicago, Peter Albino, at the number listed below. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday.